The Joe Rogan Experience.
I think we're coming to a point in our history where a lot of these people are dead. A lot of these people are in jail. A lot of these people got book deals. And a lot of these people are talking. And I mean, it's interesting seeing some of the stuff that is coming out now that in my time when I was active would have gotten you in a hole probably somewhere if you talked about it. Oh. So there was definitely, I mean, my mind was blown when I was seeing El Chapo on Netflix. Because a lot of stuff that was going on in that show is fictionalized stuff that I went through myself. So it's like, this is on Netflix now.
How accurate was it?
There's some pretty good accurate parts. So there's a character in that show called Sol.
We're talking about Narcos, and we're talking about the Mexican version of Narcos, right? Because there was a Colombian first.
Yeah, there's a Narcos is pretty good. There's a El Chapo series on Netflix as well.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, it's in Spanish. It's pretty popular, but it's pretty accurate. There's a guy in the
Does it
show.
have subtitles?
It does.
Oh.
There's a guy in the show, Conrado Sol is his name, which people were trying to figure out who that was. It's basically a government guy that had a deal with El Chapo, and they both kind of escalated in power. It turns out it was Luna, right? So this show was showing him the character El Sol, which depicts Luna as a corrupt politician that was working security, working both sides, and all of a sudden, recently, a few weeks back, they arrested the guy.
Wow!
So the show was kind of predicting.
Do you think that the show had anything to do with him being arrested?
I mean, it probably put the idea in the zeitgeist of people to ask questions.
Yeah, that's weird that shows actually do that, like surviving R. Kelly. That's what got him arrested. I mean, everybody knew he was peeing on people, and like fucking 20 years ago, he's peeing on little kids.
But, and now it gives people like it's interesting. You see fictionalized forms of stuff that happened down there. The Narcos show as well is another thing. See fictionalized things of how some of these powerful cartel groups kind of originated themselves in fiction. And now that is in the public kind of domain as far as collective knowledge. So people start asking questions. And some of these things, apparently people in power also ask questions as well.
Jesus Christ. It's just, it's so strange how popular it's become, and it's such a popular focal point of fiction as well.
And fashion.
Yeah.
El Chapo's picture with Sean Penn.
Yeah.
The shirt was like fire. Everybody wanted that shirt.
You know that Conor McGregor wore something to mimic it on purpose when he was in the press conference for Rafael dos Anjos. Did you know that?
Yeah, I heard something about it.
He stood in the same stance. Like, look at him. I mean, he's doing it on purpose.
Yeah,
it's like a subtle nod to El Chapo.
Yeah, I mean, El Chapo has achieved legendary status. Now,
for sure.
Now his kid that was freed by the cartel down there, he was wearing a scapulario, which is like I don't know if you can see it in there. It's an interesting piece of a cultural thing from Mexico.
Like, what is going on in this video that we're watching?
So he just handed the gun over, his personal gun over to one of his bodyguards that was not even. These guys don't even care about him. This is a head camera thing, and they're putting everybody out there. And personally, I would put everybody in zip ties and on the ground, personally.
So these guys all have guns drawn, and there's people inside with guns drawn at them.
And they realize who they have now. So they're like, should we forcefully put him in cuffs? Should we not?
So how do you know that they're realizing this right? Is it because of the language?
All of
what they're saying?
I've went through a lot of the same training that they went through, and I did a lot of this type of stuff, and all of them would have been in zip ties on the ground.
Look at this girl reached out and grabbed their guns and put their guns down.
There's fear in these people. They realize that they messed up.
Oh, Jesus.
Right? So that's what, people question.
And are these streaming this video live?
They have
on their head cams?
They have a head cam, and they're streaming it. It's not, they have recording it, and it gets sent back to the command post. So when he was moving around, he had one of these on. This is a scapulario, it's called. It's like a religious Catholic iconography thing.
What is yours? What is it?
This is a Santa Muerte one, right? It's like a holy death effigy.
So he had that on.
His was a Santo Niño de Atocha, which is like a Catholic Christ baby saint they have. as soon as that picture of him went online, they were sold out all throughout Sinaloa. Everybody was wearing they have to work. They work. Those work.
Because it got him free.
Got him free.
There he is.
That's the Scapulario. Santo Niño de Atocha.
Handsome guy.
Yeah, that's also an interesting cultural thing. The occult part of it, where that Santo Niño de Atocha shrine is right now, it's probably the most popular shrines in Mexico, or that one, because they work. And then you go to the Holy Death shrines down there as well, and you see how both sides, both Mexican government forces and the cartel, they both venerate kind of the same saints. So that's a weird kind of thing. They share that faith.
What is that picture of his truck down there, Jamie? You have some wacky truck? No, it's just a regular truck.
That's
his.
So, yeah, that's one of his.
It's riddled
armored.
with bullets.
He gave out cars on Christmas. He he did this party to any townspeople where he was.
How many cars did he give out?
I have no idea. Like a lot of them. There's pictures of El Chapo's son gives out cars on Christmas, and there's a bunch of cars there. Again, who are you? Like who are you going to go towards him?
Of course,
or the government. You give me a car, you don't give me anything.
Yeah, they like you said, hearts and minds. They're really
hearts and minds, and they pay for college education. So there's a whole generation of lawyers, a whole generation of doctors. They pay for immigration procedures. So hey, you want to, yeah, I'll pay for your immigration, but I'm going to call in some favors later on. Okay.
Wow.
So that's how you grow.
It's full on mafia shit.
Yeah, I mean they learned that
one day I'll come to you.
Al Capone, Scarface, all these things are kind of venerated by them. That's kind of their cultural backing. They have pop cultural backing. They kind of look to the mob era guys as influence or as inspiration. You see, insane paintings of The Godfather or Scarface in some of these safe houses where these people are, right? And you're like, wow, okay. Or you see cartel-influenced series for Netflix. Like there's one called La Reina del Sur, which is about a female cartel head. And the lady that stars in that show was the one that took Sean Penn down there to meet El Chapo, because El Chapo was a fan of that show. Right?
Really?
Yeah.
That's how it got going?
When they finally caught up to him, he had the whole series on DVDs at his safe house, which is pretty. He humanized them a little bit.
Oh my God, that whole scene with Sean Penn going down there and writing a story for Rolling Stone was uber bizarre.
Yeah, well, if they get the terrorist designation, he basically went down there to meet with a terrorist.
What happens to him then? Is it retroactive?
I don't know.
But he helped get him arrested in a sense, right?
Well, he basically that whole commotion put eyes on the movements of El Chapo by the Mexican government.
Why would El Chapo agree to do something like that?
He was a fan of the show.
That seems so crazy, though. Doesn't it seem crazy that he was willing to take that kind of a risk? And take a photo with Sean Penn and that actress?
Well,
what's her name again?
Cate del Castillo.
Yeah, right there. Chapo's probably banging that, right? If I had to guess.
There's rumors. There's rumors of a meeting. That's about it. I don't know anything else.
If I had a guess, I would say yes. But it's just the whole thing. Look at Sean Penn smiling. Hey, here's my friend, the murderer.
Well, I mean...